Hey guys, so we're going to use a skill that you can potentially use on your merch advertisement. So we just finished an assignment where you made an album cover, and the early finisher assignment for that is that you get to make merch for that band. So let's make a Nike Air Force One for a Wu-Tang album. So first thing we're going to do is we need to make some edits to the shoe so that it'll be easy to add elements to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mess with the levels a little bit so that way I can get rid of some of this gray space. So I'm going to come down here to the adjustment layers, and I'm going to go to levels. And then what I want to do is I want to bring the dark and the lights closer together. And then I want to move this gray tab until all of the gray disappears and I'm only left with uh, solid outlines. So something kind of like this. So the next step that we're going to do is we're actually going to get rid of this background, because when we make our advertisement for our band merch, we're going to want this to be transparent. So I'm going to click on the layer with the shoe, and then I'm going to click on my magic wand tool, and I'm going to select the background. And then I want to add a mask to this, but I want it to mask the background and not the shoe. So again, I'm going to invert my selection. So Control Shift I, so that it gets just the shoe. And then I'm going to add a mask. So this way we have a see-through background and we can start changing the colors and everything on this shoe. So let's go ahead and grab the image that we're going to put onto our Air Force Ones. I found this image here. You can make your own, or you can find a logo that already exists, but we do have to make it where it looks like it's on the shoe. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this guy into our template. Right now, when I drug it in here, we accidentally put it underneath the layer that has the adjustments. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoot that up so that way it's not underneath there. And then remember, we need to resize it. And when we resize, we're going to do Control T. And what I want to do is make it where it looks like the Wu-Tang symbol is going to be inside of this space where the Nike swoosh is. So I'm just going to kind of turn and edit. And what I could also do is make this layer a little bit transparent so that I can make sure that I'm going to get most of the logo in there. So I'm going to bring that opacity back up. And then I'm going to turn this layer off. And I'm going to, again, use my magic wand tool on the shoe layer to select this area here that's going around the Nike swoosh, right? And now that I've selected that layer on the shoe, then I can turn the layer with my image back on and select that image and then give it a mask. So now it looks like it's inside of that part of the shoe, right? Super cool. Okay, so let's actually duplicate this layer. So I'm going to do Control J. I'm also going to remove the mask. And then this time, I'm going to turn these guys off. And on the shoe layer, this time I'm going to select my Nike swoosh. And then turn that image back on of the copy. And then again, give it a mask. And now that part is inside of our Nike swoosh, right? However, I want it to look like maybe the material of the shoe for the Nike logo is made out of a different material, right? So let's go ahead and on this layer that's inside of our swoosh, let's lower the opacity a little bit. Yeah, something kind of like that. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we need to fill in the end of this Nike swoosh. So just make sure that you fill in the end part of your Nike swoosh to be about the same color as the part with your image. So that way it doesn't look like it is empty. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to repeat that, a similar process, but we're just going to be adding colors to our shoe, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to select the colors that are on my image here. If you have an image that has more colors than this might be easier. But you can see in my swatches over here, I've got all of my different colors. And so now, again, I'm going to make sure that my shoe layer is selected. I'm going to use my magic wand tool to select the areas that I think should be this yellow color. So I think it'd be nice if the bottom of the shoe as well, I'm going to hold shift to add to my selection. I'm going to get this little small Nike swoosh here. Maybe also this plastic part. Maybe also the back of the shoe and the shoelaces, right? I'm going to try to make all of these the same color. Okay, now with my whole selection ready to go, I'm going to again make a new layer and put that layer above everything. And I'm going to use my paint bucket tool to just select the color that I want, which is yellow. And then I'm going to click inside of those spaces, and all of those places are going to turn yellow. And I would deselect and then do it again for another color, right? So maybe I want this part of the shoe on the inside of here to be like a light gray color. So let's go ahead and use my magic wand, click back on the shoe layer, select this part here. Maybe I also want the strap to be a light gray. And then I'm gonna, again, click the light gray that I want from my swatches, use my paint bucket tool, and fill that in. Oops, I need to make a new layer. I forgot one of my own steps. I need to make a new layer, put that above everything, and then click inside of there, right? So now I've got lots of different colors happening here. Now let's say you wanted to do a gradient, right? Maybe in this strip right here, I wanna do a gradient. So what I would do is I would select that shoe layer, use my magic wand, select the layer that I want to have a gradient, make a new layer and drag it above everything. And then in my swatches, I want those swatches to go from the two different colors that I want in my gradient, right? So maybe this top one, I want it to be a darker gray. And then for the underneath color, maybe I want it to be the yellow, right? So now my two swatches have a dark gray and a yellow, and I can go ahead and find my gradient tool and then just click and drag inside of that space to make the gradient. Okay, if your gradient does a transparent gradient at first and you don't want it to do that, then if you click under basics, you're gonna see a gradient here that has the two colors that are in our swatches. So I'm gonna click on that guy, and then I'm gonna try this again. And now I have a gradient that goes from the yellow to the dark gray. So hopefully this is helpful. You can use this method to create your own shoe for your advertisement to include in your merch. Good luck.